Hello and welcome to a slightly delayed finale of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race Extra Large in Live for Speed. Apologies for that. We are running, and we have qualifying having been completed now, and we have 22 cars that have set times at Rockingham Oval in the MRT5. So let's go and have a look at what we have in store today for the final round of the championship. Give me 2 seconds. I need to be right back. We will sort out this issue and be back with you momentarily. Apologies for that. And yes, let's run through where we are today with RTFR XL. The finale is at the Rockingham Oval in this lovely sunset environment. And yeah, the 60th ever RTFR XL will take place in the MRT. This is because Upsas did not choose the car that he wanted to drive, or the track he wanted to drive for the final, as far as I'm aware. So there we are. This is the random choice that's happened. And that is where we are today. So let's have a look at Rockingham Oval, the Roval, as we name it, with the 4 corners, 2.4 kilometers, 1.5 miles. We have a 94-lap race with a mandatory 10-second pit stop. This is going to be an exciting one because there's going to be all manner of things go wrong here, I imagine. This car does not have a reverse gear, being one of them. Let's take a look at the car itself. The rear-engined inline-4 64 brake horsepower motorbike engine inside the MRT, and it weighs 200 kilos. A very, very light car, very, very hard to drive. The all-important Drivers' Championship has been wrapped up by Rick Cardle, so he's taken a double victory. He's taken the win in both RTFR championships going into this one. So just a couple of positions to work out, and then any of the other positions down the order that have still got a small gap between them. Second and third, that could change today. Yoni Katila in second place currently. If your name's on this list, thank you very much for attending this year's RTFR XL. We've had some excellent races all year long, and we hope to have more in the future. We have some exciting news coming up for RTFR for next season, so stay tuned to that. The drivers are readying up for this one, and we will take a look at the grid right now. So on pole position, we have TJ followed by his teammate Igor. They line up first and second on the front row of the grid. And yeah, we're just going to have to wait for the lights to get going here. And we are green. And as all of the 21 cars stream away from the start, it is the road appraiser guys who have a very good launch. Sidus's Unite lines up third. He's going for a move straight away. He's going to try and get the slipstream. Is he? Yes, he is. No, he's not actually. He's hanging out of the slipstream straight away. And instead of cutting into the infield, we're just going to go all the way around and around and around the oval here today. We've got some interesting stuff going on in the midfield around Mandula. There he is in his traditional, or at this point, his universal livery that he uses on every single car. Donny's had a good start. We've got a huge crash, and Unite's involved in that. Igor's involved in that. We're just seeing the aftermath of it here, and that's going to be pretty bad at the start of this race. We don't have many cars, and this is such a delicate car that you have to go back to the pits and restart your race if that happens to you. So on the second lap of the race, it is Yari Katila now in P2. Mandula, who we were watching in the middle of the pack, finds himself in third place. Redbot, his teammate, is right with him as well. And Rony is here in a 3-car battle. That's Michael Malik and Tallenberg in there. All sorts of chaos unraveling itself this evening. But yes, apologies, we went live for this a bit late, but we are here and we are running. And it looks like we have a, TJ just running away with the lead. Redbot is in a gaggle here with Mandula and Yari Katila still. This car does give off a little bit of slipstream, but it's not a massive amount. So slipstreaming is is possible but limited, so you're gonna have to be very, very careful, especially if you lock wheels. 3 laps gone already, and just shy of the century, we've got Rony going for a move 3 wide through turn 2 of the Rockingham Oval. Now a glorified car park, if you will, for second-hand vehicles. Unfortunately, as Mandula pulls himself into second place once again, these 3 need to work together because they're going to get caught by the pack behind. Have 2 groups of 3 over here. And now it's just a case of which group of 3 can do the most effective drafting. Our timing tower is having a very, very fun time this evening with all these position changes. But yes, it looks like our group up front really need to start working together to try and close that gap to TJ. TJ, if I'm honest, could be in the best position here until these drivers work out how they're going to organise themselves for the slipstreaming. 1.4 seconds. Keep an eye on that gap from second place to TJ. All that TJ has to worry about is traffic emerging from the pit lane now. They appear to be hovering around the 1.5 second mark. The group behind has kind of separated into a group of 2. Rony's slightly dropped back. Has he got the slipstream? I think he's just about got the slipstream, but it's possible that Michael and Tallenberg, teammates, of course, for Master Race Car, could work together and pull away. In fact, I think they have now. So those 2 have broken away from Rony for now. Thamuli is lagging a little bit here, and he may lose connection. But yes, here we go. This is now a 5-car pack. The 2 MRC drivers have done a great job. They've clawed back the space to the 3 ahead of them. And look at this. We've got 4 wide. This is an absolute chaos situation. You don't want to lock wheels. Oh, it's seriously close. Mandula on the low line there. And this is an indecipherable mess of cars now. The MRT is so small, you just have to blink and everything's changed. And yeah, as soon as I say that, Mandula drops back down to 4th, maybe 5th here with Yari on the outside line. But this group consists of Tallenberg, Michael, Yari, Mandula, and Redbot. And I'm amazed that Rony hasn't managed to catch up as much. He's using the apron, actually, a lot of the apron. He has the fastest lap, according to our timing. Whether that's the same as they cross the line, it is. So even though he has the fastest lap, he's not been able to actually catch up to the back of this group. It is currently Michael Malik and Tallenberg leading this. So they've managed to cut through those 3. And if I'm honest, it looks like they might emerge with a pretty healthy gap as Mandula. Is Mandula lost the slipstream already? I think he may have done. So it does appear as though Tallenberg and Michael have overtaken those 3 and have cut away. Oh, there's ever so slightly, there's a tiny amount of slipstream here, so they are clawing back together. Michael Malik is lagging. This is big. If he comes back, where will he come back? Michael is lagging somewhere around the circuit. Here he is. He's back, and he's still in the lead gaggle. We've had something happen at the front. I'm not quite sure what's happened. There we are. Michael was registered as the leader because he must have lagged across the start-finish line or something. Anyway, he's down to 3rd again. For a moment, I thought TJ had dropped down the order. That was very confusing. Michael's internet not being as stable as he wants, letting him down slightly this evening, and I'm sure annoying his fellow MRT drivers. Here we are, the wide shot. Tallenberg has Mandula on his left, and Michael Malik about to make it a 3 wide. These 3 not giving each other any room at all as Tallenberg now lags. Michael lags in the red car there again. Where will he respawn? Oh, goodness me, right next to Mandula. And these 3 will not be enjoying themselves. I don't know whether Michael's aware that he's lagging. Never a comfortable situation to be driving an oval with someone who's lagging, let alone in this car. And this is definitely a chance for Jari Katila and Redbot to catch back up with this confusion that Michael seems to be causing. The gap to the lead actually hanging around that 1.5 second mark. So, yeah, even though there's a little bit of scrapping going on further back, the gap hasn't changed to TJ. Igor is out, of course. He started on the front row alongside his teammate. He's out thanks to an incident we just missed on the first lap that caused Mandula to go from somewhere just inside the top 10 to third. And now he's sitting P2 or P3, or in this little gap here that's sat just behind TJ. 1.2 seconds now, the gap. So they have finally worked something out and are gaining. Rony's decided to pair up with the world-class Lions driver Jari Katila, who of course is sponsoring both RTFR and RTFR XL this year. And Rick Cardle, the winner of the Drivers' Championship, will get his sum of the prize pool. Sorry, Rony here is with... Who is Rony with here? It is Pekka Koivunen, who is a lap down. That's what was confusing me. There we go. So he is a lap down already. But he is rejoined with the leaders. So Jari Katila is slightly ahead and is in a duel with Redbot. So everything's pretty it's ironed itself out at the front. However, it does appear as though Michael still has that issue with his lag and is allowing the gap to TJ to stay around about that second mark. It has dropped down below, but of course when the drivers switch around, the gap to him will switch to... Oh yeah, Michael Malek's ping is a problem here. I don't know if he's aware if he's lagging himself, but the others certainly will be up and down this grid. Rony there still with the fastest lap down in 7th place, but not able to make much use of his single lap pace if he's not drafting with him efficiently. He's in a little bit of a drafting pair now. He's got Pekka Koivunen behind him, the lapped car of course, and he's 3 wide with Jari and Redbot, and he's managed to get underneath. Is he going to be able to get up to the back of Michael at some point? Hopefully he can work with Redbot now, his teammate, to try and catch up to Michael. There you see the 3 ahead. Michael Malek in the middle, or now on the left-hand side rather, with that red MRT, taking the low line. And we are riding on board with Redbot, who is currently drafting with Rony. There he is, just appearing on the left of the screen. Can't miss it, bright green. And these cars, yeah, maxing out at around about 107 kilometers an hour. We've got Jari Katila now closing in on this battle with Pekka Koivunen. So their teammates are going to be working together. And blue flags don't really matter in oval racing as long as you're drafting efficiently. If you're slipstreaming well, then people around you won't really care that you're a lap off the lead. We have someone in the pits. It is TJ, our race leader, comes into the pit lane for his one and only stop. And we'll get a readout of how long that pit stop was. 10.25, so he has just gone over the 10-second pit stop minimum that you have to serve in RTFR XL. 10 seconds is the minimum pit stop time that these drivers have to do, and they want to do it as well whenever, at some point during the race, preferably with someone, because if you come out of the pit lane alone like TJ is, you don't have the benefit of slipstream. Now, I say that, but let's have a look at who's currently leading. We've got Mandula. Now, pay attention to the revs and the speed on Mandula's car. It is locked there at 109 kilometers an hour. You're not going to get much in the way of any sort of pickup from the slipstream, maybe 1 or 2 kilometers an hour at best. There we go, 111 now. So, because this car has such a small rev range, the benefit of the draft is significantly neutralized compared to, say, a car that has, a lot more gears and a lot more rev range. So these two have to be extremely efficient with their drafting, else, given even if they come in 10 laps time, TJ could still emerge ahead of them. So very, very little to be gained from drafting around here. Here is Rony now promoted to 4th place. It looks like the Katila, Koivunen, World Class Lions teammates, they are with Redbot, but yep, they've dropped back slightly, so not able to stay with Rony and Michael Malek just now. Tallenberg and Mandula seemed to have dropped Michael, so potentially something to do with the lag that he was experiencing. And they look to be working quite well together. TJ has rejoined down in P14, and he's on his own, so he won't have anyone to draft with. Now, looking at the rest of the field, that might not be such a bad thing because, well, so far this race, drafting doesn't seem to have worked out that well for anybody. All right, so we are 15 laps into this race. That means we have completed a sixth as we head on to lap 16. And it is now Tallenberg and Mandula who lead this race. Rony up to P4, currently fastest lap, and our race leader, on aggregate, net leader is TJ down in P14, running around on his own. Did a 10.2 second pit stop, which is pretty good, which means if he keeps it clean, he should emerge in the lead again, unless these two on your screen can do something special with the draft here today. So this is the phase of an oval race where you're leading, you have a partner. It's really good if you can communicate directly with them. Of course, for Rony's Tuesday Fun races in LFS, the chat is open, so drivers can often communicate with their keyboard or with preset binds. Sometimes drivers like to hang out in TeamSpeak or Discord and chat about the races as well. So I wonder what techniques these drivers here today have adopted. Now, you never know who you're going to end up with, who you're going to end up drafting with. You just have to hope that the other driver knows what they're doing. And so far, it seems as though Tallenberg and Mandula have hooked this up nicely. 1.3 to 1.4 seconds, the gap now between them and Michael and Rony behind. And you can see how big that gap translates to in the MRT5, which is based on the old spec of Formula Student car, designed, built by mechanical engineering university students, mainly. Michael and Rony going side by side, and keep an eye on that time. Keep an eye on that gap. It is going down. Going up. So 1.5 seconds nearly between Michael and Mandula. And I wonder also how much fuel these cars have got on board. TJ clearly, well, I'm guessing, running quite a low amount of fuel because the amount of time that he is losing, it seems to be going up to Mandula. We have the time to the leaders shown on our timing tower. So 34.1 seconds it was at the last sector. It's now 34.5. So TJ has fueled to the end. In such a light car, the jury's out on what the best strategy is. Whether you want to go half fuel. You don't want to be running around with full fuel in the MRT, most likely. So, to be honest, in a race like this, pitting halfway probably isn't the worst idea. We don't often say that in LFS because the cars are often much heavier. Okay, this car doesn't have a very big fuel tank either, but it only weighs 200 kilos, so every kilogram of fuel certainly matters. And TJ will be losing time hand over fist. We'll get another update of his time very soon as he crosses over more sectors, but it is already, there we go, 34.9 now, the gap between Tallenberg and TJ. So was that an error? Did he put too little fuel in at the beginning? Did he come into the pits too early? Well, it's beginning to seem as though yes, he did, as the two leaders go side by side once again. Now, Mandula will probably be hoping that Tallenberg has put less fuel in his car to begin with, and likewise everybody around them will be thinking the same. You do not want to have less fuel in than your drafting partner, because if you pit early, you're not going to be with them when they come out of the pits a few laps later. But these two seem to be doing very well, so we'll leave them alone. Let's have a look at this gaggle of cars. There's always going to be fireworks, and we've got 4 cars side by side. This is Lorenzo involved now in this pack. Lorenzo, one of the drivers who started out this year not in a team and has since joined the race green team towards the end of the season. So nice to see some new faces joining long-standing teams in LFS. Interestingly, 5 race green cars in the top 7 here. And Lorenzo currently leading this pack from 5th downwards. Or rather 3rd downwards. This is the Second gaggle, is it? 3 wide. Oh, and that's seriously close. It's kind of difficult from that camera angle to gauge how close these drivers are. It's not a very wide track, this, but it is definitely not too wide on the back straight. Rony and Michael not doing too bad of a job slipstreaming each other, but this is the difficult part. See here where Rony's now on his own because Michael Malek's ping has let him down, and when he respawns, Rony will not have gained the advantage of that slipstream during that period. So, yes, not ideal. Mandula and Tallenberg also have an issue now. They are catching up to the back of a back marker who should get out of their way. Oh, but Tallenberg's gone onto the rumble strips and has rolled the car. Completely unforced error. He's dropped too low on the apron. Has driven over the... Oh my goodness, and he's collected cars further down. He should have been straight into the spectators after that incident and has collected some cars. Yeah. So he must have either made contact and dropped down onto the apron, but this leaves Mandula completely exposed at the front now and on his own. He is now a sitting duck. We've got some cars rejoining from the pits who were involved in that incident, I'm assuming, which promotes Michael and Rony to P2 and 3, and that is arguably the best duo to see. Tallenberg with a big error there at this corner, oval turn 3 on the last lap. Look how low down the rumble strips are. He must have gone quite a long way offline to clip that and then rolled over and then rolled kind of 2 wheels along the wall between turns 3 and 4 of the oval. Very bizarre crash. But yes, that leaves Mandula completely exposed at the front. Gaggle's further behind. Now we've got lapped cars in the mix here. These 3 are between positions 4 and 6. But ahead of them, they've got, I think, Climbs and Cozzy. Yes, Climbs and Cozzy here. But these 2 are together as well, so they won't want to give up track position too easily. So now this will become a group of 5 temporarily. The red and 2 yellow cars should slipstream past and resume their race. Cozzy and Climbs won't want to get in the way of these guys. They'll just want to race their own race and see where they end up, probably. Yeah, but a terrible shame to see what's happened up front. More casualties in this race. Mandula has caught up to that back marker. It looks like this is World Class Lions Isa, who has pitted twice already. So Mandula might not be too happy with Isa slipstream with him. He is going to go back through anyway. So Isa is going to affect the lead of this race a little bit. If Mandula does not like the slipstreaming, I'm sure he will tell. I will tell him what's. Oh well. He will tell him what's going on. And yes, Mandula has some company. 1.7 seconds then, the gap between Mandula and Michael. We'll have to keep an eye on what's going on. Just thinking back to that incident with Tallenberg. Yeah, I don't know how the incident was initiated, but it finished with him hitting the speed bumps on the inside of turn 3 and rolled him up into the wall. A very bizarre accident. I'm not sure how he ended up down there. Very strange. United's been through the pit lane with a drive-through penalty, and he is now back on the track in P14. So it's going to be a long afternoon for him. Rony still with the fastest lap, even though he is, well, he's lapping quite well, and the gap is coming down to Mandula now. So I wonder if Mandula is having trouble here with Isa. No, the gap has gone up again, so maybe not as bad as we expected. So Michael Malik's internet here has settled down. His lag has settled down, and he seems to be a little bit more stable than he was. Touch wood. And that's going to be good for Rony, who can now slipstream with 1.3 seconds. And side by side further back, we have Yaya Katila still in this gaggle with Magic now. And Lorenzo. Cosian climbs a lap down further behind in 12th and 13th. They're in a direct battle actually with Unite. But Unite is quite a way back from those two. This group of three getting quite close for comfort actually. They're not giving much room to each other. But it's often said that in over racing, if you can be tight and stay tight together, that is often the best way round. And we're about to head on to lap 30 of 94 here this evening. Hearing that Tallenberg's incident was just a case of dropping a wheel on the apron, so dropped a wheel on the apron and the car let go. Yeah, the tyres are quite strange on the MRT, a weird profile. But yeah, the apron of this corner that these drivers are going through now causing some issues for him, unfortunately, which leaves Mandula at the head of this race. Mandula and Isa are working quite well together. Rony now in a slipstream pair with Michael Malik. This group of three is soon to become a group of five again because they're not working as effectively as they need to. Cosy and Climbs are still there, and they're going to feel compelled to get involved soon. These three are not working particularly well together. Lorenzo's trying to go around the outside, which is never something you want to do on an oval. He's going to have to switch back to the inside and go through. And they're going to be three wide again going through here. Oh, slight contact actually with Lorenzo. Magic having to do a slight correction, and this just plays into the hands of Cosy and Climbs behind. These guys are a lap down. They don't want to be interfering with these three ahead, but sooner or later they're going to get impatient if the three ahead can't sort themselves out. So it's all up to Yari, Lorenzo, and Magic. And here we are. The situation I was describing before has happened. Cosy and Climbs are right there. Yeah, more contact. Was that slight rear contact there between Lorenzo and Magic? Could be just close, but looks a little bit too close for comfort for my liking. Right on board with Lorenzo. Let's see what the situation is with these three. Hard to tell from the outboard shots what's happening. But you don't want to be leading for too long in a drafting trio. You need to be a well choreographed group. So here, Lorenzo, instead of moving to the inside, opts to go wide and then tucks under. That's okay. But lifting out while you're not in the slipstream is not the fastest way around the oval. And these three just seem to be a little bit confused as to what the best strategy is for slipstreaming. That is going to hurt them. Further behind, we've now got Soini passing Cosy and Climb. So this now brings them back into position. Michael Malik's had an incident. He was very slow on the wall between turns 1 and 2 of the oval, and he's lagging again. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. Rony now is on his own, so I wonder if a call might go out to Mandula to slow down and work together. Possibly not. It's possibly okay just to work on your own here. That seems to be the situation. But then we have this three who are trying to work together, but it's not quite working out. Magic, Yari, and Lorenzo coming across the line to start lap 34. Michael Malik in the pits. Let's see, will this be his stop or will it be a retirement because of the internet connection that he has? We'll keep an eye on that one. 60 laps to go. And still it is Mandula who leads. His drafting pair, Tallenberg, crashed out spectacularly. 10.1 second stop for Michael. That is the fastest stop of the race. So he's going to continue, albeit he will rejoin somewhere down in the low, well, just inside the top 10, possibly, after that stop. We ride on board with a Magic 4 race screen. Let's see if these guys have sorted themselves out since we last watched. There goes Lorenzo through to the front, and Yari Cotillo will be somewhere off to the left as Magic sweeps back through, take the lead of this trio. I think Rony and Michael may have had a coming together, because I think the gap at the front between Mandula and Rony has gone up more possibly than it should have done. So it's possible that Michael and Rony actually had contact and Rony had a wiggle and slowed down slightly, whereas Michael's incident was a little bit more severe. Rony's in the pits now, so let's see how long his stop is. He's bailed from his comfortable P2 position just 36 laps into this race, and this will be his one and only stop. So some refueling will be happening during the 10 seconds. And let's see where Rony comes out in relation to TJ. That will be telling. So TJ is coming across start-finish now, and Rony is already well at pit exit. So that's how much time TJ's lost since the start by pitting early. But yes, now it's interesting to see how the pace between TJ and Rony develops. They should be on similar fuel. Of course, they both made their one and only mandatory pit stop, and they should be running on relatively similar fuel. Mandula now getting past Isa, the back marker, but also managing to open a slight gap, if I'm not mistaken. We ride on board with Isa, who won't want to hold Mandula up, but might want to help him slightly, just to eke his lead. It's very risky trying to help out a race leader, because you don't want to tangle and you don't want to force him offline like that, because even though Isa is a slipstream partner, Mandula will have lost time going wide like that. So this has got to be effective. They head on to lap 38. Rony's lost quite some time, 35 seconds to the lead now after that pit stop. Yari Cotillo, Magic, Lorenzo, Redbot, Soini, Luke between him and Mandula. Right on board again with Yari Cotillo in his MRT, forcing Lorenzo very close to the wall, not leaving any room, this three. And you can see how close they're getting, side by side. And Lorenzo pulls out extremely late. He moves to the left extremely late to get past, so leaving it to the last second. Has to not make contact. And hearing also in the background that Redbot has managed to drop back. Well, Redbot's managed to open up a slight gap to Soini. Soini now is in a battle with Climbs, and Redbot is in a slipstream with Cozzy. So these guys are out of sync. So Cozzy obviously a lap down. Lime's also a lap down. Nice three wide situation going on between these three, but this is just not helping them anymore. Rony should come out well ahead of these guys if he has a clean stint. And even though the draft technique of these three is questionable, so far they are keeping out of trouble. I've said that a couple of times this stream and it's gone wrong. I don't want to do it again. So take it easy, boys. But so far, so good. Mandula, I think he's probably going to get a book out in a minute and start reading. Although he does have to pay attention to Isa, who is he's trying to help, and it seems to be working. 4 seconds now, the gap. Near enough back to the rest of the podium drivers and the bottom of the top four. But I do wonder if he's starting to get slightly itchy with this World Class Lions car buzzing around him. For now, I don't think he'll mind. The gap continues to rise as long as they keep it clean. Gap between Rony and TJ, importantly, is just over 3 seconds. Almost. Oh, hang on. No, sorry. Yeah, just over 3 seconds. Down to 2 now at the split. So TJ is catching Rony. I think Rony went wide there, actually. Is he letting TJ catch? Let's have a look at Rony's line around oval turn 2. Yes, he is. Rony is indeed slowing down to let TJ catch up so that these two can work together. That's a smart decision. It'll be a pretty docile 52 laps to the end for Rony if he just stays here. But giving up that time does allow Mandula a little bit more breathing room, of course. Rony was in P2 thereabouts when he pitted. And he would have given more time to our race leader. And that gap is slowly opening. 4.3 seconds briefly registered at the top of the timing tower. Between Lorenzo, who is side by side with Magic again, and Yari Katilla slides on in there as well. Let's have another look to see whether this three have sorted themselves out anymore since we last watched. There goes Yari to the inside on Lorenzo. And sorry, on Lorenzo. And that is Magic, who's doing the right thing, driving straight through, and then Lorenzo will also switch back under. So they're a little bit more organised than they were. That could start to play into their hands if they can keep this up. It's incredibly difficult to keep the choreography of a 3-car draft going in any sim, because the way you take each corner is incredibly important. Where you pull out the slipstream every lap is incredibly important, and there's so many variables happening that every lap is still very different. Oval driving is not easy to be consistent for the number of laps you need to be consistent for. And here you can see Lorenzo's had to wait a couple of corners to go for this opportunity, and now they're all alongside. This is the worst situation when you're in a 3-way draft. You always want to be in someone's draft. Magic drops back in behind Yari Katilla. Might not look like the best piece of drafting you've seen, but it's clean, and they're keeping it out of the barriers so far. And the name of the game is you've got to be in it to win it. If you're in the wall or on your roof or in the grass or in the pits, you can't possibly win. So Mandula heads on to lap 45, approaching the halfway mark around the Rockingham Oval in Live for Speed in this lovely sunset lighting. And it is Isa who is keeping him company, although 2 laps down from our race leader. I am interested to see whether Redbot can work with Cozzy here to catch back up to the guys in front. I'm assuming that Cozzy and Climbs were involved in the first lap tussle, and that's why they are out of position to where they were. Cozzy a lap down, but slipstreaming still with Redbot. Cozzy and Climbs did not repair damage in their stop, so possibly that they pitted very early for a scheduled strategy stop. As Mandula, was he touching the wall there? Looked suspiciously like he might have actually been rubbing the wall. We'll have to check out the sector time as we head down to start finish once again. As Mandula registers a sector. Yes, it looks like there may have been some contact. That gap now under 3, but only marginal. Very small gap difference. So Rony and TJ are now working together. So TJ has finally, after 47 or so laps, not quite that many, but anyway, he has a drafting partner in the form of Rony Krompush. So can these two work effectively together to do any sort of damage to the front of the race? Remember that Rony rejoined the track around about 35 seconds off the lead, and these two are now 39 seconds. Can they make up 4 seconds drafting together? I'm not sure. Let's see what happens. I'm hearing they have made some progress, half a second maybe on the lead of the race. So never say never for these two. They have a lot of laps left. Don't forget that the RTFR XL combo is slightly longer than our traditional Tuesday series, or our regular twice monthly Tuesday series. And the gap now to Lorenzo, 3.6. So Mandula definitely dropping back slightly. Potentially because Lorenzo, Magic, and Yari have finally worked out a rhythm that works for them. In an oval race, you don't necessarily end up next to the people who you practice with, as we see Yari Katilla diving for the pit lane. Brings the car down to the 35, I think it's 35 mile an hour speed limit. It's incredibly slow, 60 kilometers an hour, 40-ish miles an hour. Oh, he's missed the first box, but he's made the second one. And in fact, what has he done there? I think he's made too short of a stop. So Yari will have to come back in. He made one stop. It was very short, and he drove out of the pit box by accident. So that's Yari's race basically over. He will have to do another trip down the pit lane. That is a big error for someone who was battling for a podium position. So unfortunate that for Yari. More trouble for Mandula. Look at this. He has another backmarker for company, and it's Michael Malik. So our leader in the white car there is surrounded by backmarkers, which you don't want. But it is a Tuesday fun race after all. Maybe he doesn't mind the company. But if it were me, I wouldn't want to see Michael Malik's lagging car anywhere near me if I was leading a race. So hopefully Michael realises what's going on and he just hangs back. This is a consolation race for him. TJ and Rony are making great progress now. Let's see what the gap is as they come up to start-finish. To the cars ahead. 39.1 seconds, the gap between both of them. Mandula doing remarkably well to stay at the head of this race, even though he's got company. Look at this crazy stuff at the front. But now it is 4 race green cars leading the way. Mandula, Lorenzo, Magic, and Redbot. And is the 2 race green teammates. Now that Yari is out of the question, who can get their heads down and work together? Is 3 better than 2? We're about to find out. I would say that 2 is better than 3 around here. There's fewer variables. And in a car where the slipstream doesn't make too much of a difference if you're using it effectively, 2 is certainly going to be better than 3. Let's keep an eye on the lap times. The gap now 3.3 seconds is what I saw. What will it be? 3.28. So Lorenzo and Magic are definitely catching. Great stuff. Rony's dropped slightly back from TJ. Rony needs to be tight on TJ's car. They don't want to give too much room between them. Actually, that was quite a decent amount of slipstream. This gap working well. The gap under 38 seconds now. So they have dropped under the 39-second barrier. They're into the high 38s then, 38.7. So this is gradually working. They only need 2 or 3 seconds more, and they will be on top of Mandula when Mandula pits. This could be still be the battle for the lead. Michael Malik has retired, so he's packed it up. He's called it a day. He's maybe had a message from someone to say that his ping is not good. Oh goodness me! TJ getting extremely close to the rumble strips down there on the oval. But yeah, Rony and TJ doing very well here. I don't know how many RTFRs it's been since Rony was on the podium. But it's going that way right now. Rony could be on for a podium here in his own event. Always nice to see the hosts get something back. And yes, TJ and Rony certainly a very effective drafting pair right now. And Lorenzo and Magic are slowly reeling in Mandula. Mandula is not enjoying this slipstreaming at the front. Now that Matt Michael's out of the way, it might get slightly better. But at the moment, it is Mandula who will still be in the lead, even when he pits. If he doesn't mess up his pit stop, he will come out in the lead of this race, just ahead of TJ as it stands. But for how much longer can Mandula stay out? How much fuel has he got on board? Did he put full fuel in at the beginning? Wouldn't make sense to do that, in my opinion. But he still has to serve a 10-second mandatory pit stop. Just a matter of when. Soini, he's doing a very nice drive today. A respectable 5th place ahead of his teammate Yari. But Yari has a void between him and Timu. And Yari is closer to TJ and Rony, who have pitted as well, than he is to Soini. Battle further back, we've got Unite and Pekka Koivunen working together now to catch Luke. And this is for position. This is for 11th position. And then ahead of them is 3 seconds to climbs. So Luke is going to be swallowed up here by our RTFR driver's 2nd place winner, or the 2nd place trophy for Unite. In a slight change of events, I am going to introduce or bring into the commentary box to Zdravko Topolniak. Good evening, Zdravko.
Hello, everyone. So I see we have a nice oval race going on.
Yeah, just your casual Tuesday evening oval race with the MRT, a very unlikely combination. A reminder, if you weren't here at the beginning of the show, that we had Upsas, who won the previous round of Excel, didn't choose a combo, so this was randomly drawn as far as I know. As we have our race leader in the pit lane, Mandula comes into the pit lane. This is going to be telling. He should if this pit stop goes well, come out ahead of TJ and Rony, but only just. It's going to be very close for the lead of this race. TJ currently the highest placed driver who has made a legitimate pit stop. Jari, of course, running in P6, didn't make a legitimate pit stop. He's coming up to the final corner now, but he probably won't stop for a while again. TJ and Rony drafting very effectively here, and they are surely going to be close to Mandula as he's just getting up to speed now as he exits the pit lanes of Dravko. And this is going to be quite a lot more of a gap than I expected. It's about a corner, so we've got about 3 or 4 seconds between them.
Yeah, it looks like he's quite far ahead. He's even ahead of Jari. Did you say Jari did not complete the 10-second pit stop?
Yeah, he was very quick. He kind of panicked, stopped, moved, and then tried to stop again and then drove off. So yeah, a bit of a blunder for Jari. Another 8 seconds or something, 9 seconds nearly for his stop.
In this case, it's best to just take the penalty. I think it's 5 seconds plus the time, or is it more?
It's more than that, but driving down a pit lane costs about 20 seconds, I suppose.
Yeah.
But 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds ish, the gap between Mandula and Jari, and a further 2 back to these two. So Mandula's had a very nice stint up ahead, and with some help from Isa and Michael Malik occasionally in the mix there.
So that basically puts Lorenzo and Magic ahead of TJ and Rony?
Yes, it will do. So when these two pit, they will come out somewhere between Mandula and TJ around Jari Katila, but Jari is kind of the joker in the pack now with that penalty. Either way he takes it.
Yeah, I see interesting move here that TJ is having our freeze. So I wonder how that will come into play. They are already cold. But Mandula and Rony are on R2s, probably on the same setups.
Yeah, TJ's pace hasn't been bad. TJ started the race on pole, pitted very early, and was immediately losing time to everybody else. No draft, probably heavier fuel than he had at the beginning, but the pace with Rony's been quite good. Here's this 3-car train again with Lorenzo and Magic, with Isa now as the back marker in the pack. He was lapping with Mandula and has now decided to join these two. Does seem to be staying back, doesn't want to interfere necessarily in this one.
Yeah, I think if he's experienced enough, he will already see from the body language of the cars of his opponents if they want him to interfere with their draft or no. What I do notice is that Magic is not using the inside, the full inside of the oval side. He's not going down to the apron. And I would say that on this car it would be beneficial to go to the apron, because the less distance you can get with this car, it's the best due to its low speeds.
Yeah, absolutely. So now they've managed to get past Jari, but will Jari stick around and help them? Jari may as well. I think we'll work it out, but I think Jari will be better off staying in this race. The penalty could possibly be more severe if he came in to do a pit stop and had to drive all the way down the pit lane again. So we'll see. Yeah, he's getting involved in this now. So this could affect the lead of the race eventually.
Yeah, it really depends how disciplined these 3 guys are now in this draft. Already we see that TJ is selecting to stay behind. Maybe they just need to catch up a rhythm. It is doable to do a 3-car draft with MRTs on oval. Yes, Rockingham is a bit harder to do than Kyoto, but still. Now we see how far ahead Rony came from Catilla, so that's a bit of a mistake because TJ should follow behind. Now they have a two-car draft situation because TJ was hesitant.
Yari's caused a headache here, I think.
Yeah,
Slightly.
well, two-car draft is easy. Real-world drivers show their mettle on 3 or 4-car drafting. So let's see how they go. If they want to win, they better be good at 3-car drafting.
Yeah, the problem is Yari was not as fast around this track as Rony and TJ was. I don't know. I don't think Yari had an opportunity to be alone with someone else much this race. So he is more experienced in this race, particularly in a 3-car draft. But TJ has spent most of this race on his own, and so has Rony. So goodness knows what's going to happen here.
If you look at it from turn 1 to turn 2, TJ was staying behind Rony while he should have took the draft from Catilla. But in a 3-car draft, if one of them is not taking the chances, it's still not as bad because the other 2 cars can still make it faster than a 2-car draft. It just depends what they do. I see that they're opting mostly for 1-car passes, as Rony stayed behind already. Interesting way in these oval races in LFS is that it depends a lot on the car. This slow type of car with not a lot of downforce and not a lot of slipstream speed, it is beneficial to get into the draft as soon as possible, and they look to be forgetting that, or maybe they just don't know it, because you want to build up the speed as soon as you can. There's not a lot of advantage to have when you kind of have the very high speed at the end of the straight, because for most of the straight you were traveling slower. So all you want is higher speed as soon as possible, and we see that they dropped Yari.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely. So it would be easier now for Rony and TJ. I know Rony probably doesn't have problem even with 3 or 4-car draft, but TJ probably is more comfortable in 2-car draft.
Yeah, it definitely is. And the gap has been coming down steadily to Mandula. And of course, this is the net lead for the race. Lorenzo and Magic are still scrapping out ahead. They've dropped Redbot by 4 seconds now. There you can see Redbot in the background with, I think that's Cozzy. So these two will join somewhere in the Mandula TJ Rony scrap, but we just can't be sure until they opt to come into the pit lane as they head on to lap 68 of 94. So we're well into the final third now of the race, and it's all going to get very spicy depending on when these two come into the pits.
Well, if you look at it, last lap, Lorenzo and Magic had a 48.8, and we will see what times Mandula, TJ, and Rony put.
So Yari's opted
cross the line soon.
Yari's opted to go for the extra time in the pit stop to Javko. That seems like an odd choice, but maybe Yari just thinks he wants to finish the race legitimately without any penalties, which is fair enough. So this has to be an 8.8 second stop, or over that rather, to make his pit stop quota for the race.
So onto the lap times again. Mandula was 4/10 slower than Magic and Lorenzo last lap, and TJ and Rony were another 2/10 faster than those two guys. So Mandula is losing 6/10 to TJ and Rony. They will be on his tail soon enough. And meanwhile, if those three start losing time, it's a good opportunity for Lorenzo and Magic if they can stay out and have that pace. Ooh, Rony had a mistake.
That's a big wobble.
Yeah, he had a... It's a curious one when you go down to the apron. If you don't hit the nice angle, car can get a bit wobbly.
Well, he managed to catch up to TJ. Whether TJ lifted off to get him back in the slipstream, I'm guessing that's the case.
Yeah, TJ lifted immediately, so that's good awareness of what's happening around you. he saw Ronnie had a wobble.
Cost them a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to see because Ronnie should have been ahead of TJ on the straight and he wasn't, and TJ lifted immediately. So, in this type of incidents, it's best to lift as soon as possible because the sooner you get back into two-car draft, the sooner you are faster.
Let's ride on board and watch this gap come down. We'll keep an eye on when Magic, Lorenzo, and Redbot come into the pit lane, but ahead of us, that tiny speck just disappearing. That is Mandula, who leads the race by just over a second at this point.
Yeah, so what we saw now is Ronnie had a great run into turn one, and because he had that much overspeed, he had a great slingshot, came ahead of TJ, and then TJ had another great run just on the back of those Ronnie's run, and they have good momentum now. Now all they need to do is not make a mistake, and they will keep it like that. So it will be good for them as Magic pits.
Going to be close between Mandula and Magic actually on the exit. Magic and Lorenzo have had a good slipstreaming session, and they are going to be right in the mix as well. In fact, they've had a very effective slipstreaming session, Zajavko, and it is in fact Magic who comes out in the lead.
Now it depends what Lorenzo thinks. 23 laps until the end. If Lorenzo thinks that he's faster than Magic on while being alone, he can extend his stint a few laps bit and get out ahead of Magic, because one could maybe calculate that Ronnie, TJ, Mandula, and if they catch Magic in a 4-car draft, might be even slower than a 1-car draft. There will be a lot of tussling for position there.
Either way, I think a race green car is going to win this. I don't know what's giving that away, but the top of the timing tower is flooded with them. The only car that stands a chance of getting in the way of a race green podium lockout is TJ, who's currently 5th or 4th, depending on where he is on the track. Sorry, 5th or 6th.
Will be in their reach on the next straight.
Yeah,
already. So. Well, you know, TJ is really fast in ovals. I would say that his biggest disadvantage here would be his leg, and probably connected with that, he's driving with multi-cars, and probably his biggest advantage will be that all 4 cars ahead of him, 5, will try hard for TJ not to win.
I guess so, but there we are. It has happened. Mandula has now been caught by Rony and TJ, and this is now a 3-car pack. Lorenzo has with Magic again.
Yeah, he pitted.
Yeah, he's been in and he's come out with Magic. So he came in immediately, pretty much after Magic, and has resumed. Sorry, we missed him rejoining, but because it was so soon, it didn't really make much difference. Lorenzo hasn't stopped for enough times, Javko. He's out of it.
Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's a big mistake. He had a great position, but it's interesting that he's next to Magic and he had a short stop.
Yeah.
How short was
what happened to Magic? We'll get the pit stop time on Magic. Magic's stop was 10.3 seconds. Chris is telling us.
Yeah, so that was had 1.6. That's not enough. Yeah, that's nearly not enough.
So that's one of the race green cars that has thrown away a podium. Unfortunately, Lorenzo is out of this one, although still lapping in P2. Redbot's got Cozzy for company here, but needs to clear Cozzy or work with him to try and salvage anything from this race. Too far back for a podium, but here we are. This is now the fight to see who can catch up to Magic, who will win this race if he crosses the line ahead of any of these 3.
Lorenzo might give the win to Magic with this, because TJ is not attacking Ronnie and Mandula, so the cars behind are basically in a 2-car draft with TJ trailing behind.
That's a lot of laps.
And I don't think that Mandula and Ronnie are that much faster than Lorenzo and Magic to catch up. TJ, if he wants to be in a fight for a win, he has to come into that 3-car draft and start helping them lap faster.
Yeah, Lorenzo and Magic have the advantage that they've also been drafting with each other for most of the race. And yeah, this 4-second gap, we're going to have to keep an eye on it.
TJ maybe lost it.
Oh, yeah, he has.
This might be possible.
Oh,
if Ronnie
not
plays
just
it
the
right,
init,
TJ
just
lost
the
it.
init. Yeah, he's getting back now, so that was close. But TJ may.
I am not sure.
Ooh.
I am not sure.
Ooh.
I think
he'll be okay.
If he cuts hard here,
yeah,
then maybe, but it's not done. He might lose it.
Oh, it's close. You're right. That is that's surprising. Mandula hasn't gone particularly low there. Yeah, he's just on the cusp.
Yeah, but Rony is going fast into the draft. So if Mandula keeps a low line here, not to lose too much to TJ, who is cutting the apron, he lost it.
So Mandula and Rony just need to keep their head down now. So that is a surprise. That is very much a surprise. TJ's dropping back like a stone now. So these two doing a great job. Yeah, you can see how low TJ's going on the apron to just try and get it back. But it's not going to be enough. He has lost it. So
it's not coming back.
This is an opportunity as well for Rony and Mandula to work together to catch Magic. And it's working. Looking at the timing tower, 3.2 seconds adrift. So it's going to be close.
So it looks like the Race Green team found a good way on the setups because they are all running R2s and it looks like it's working. Probably the guys that gambled on R3 thought that harder tire, less grip, better speed. But with this aggressive cutting on the apron, you probably want some more grip and some hit into the tires so you don't lose the speed of the car when you cut in.
Yeah, well, Mandula and Rony are being extremely effective right now, and this is going to be scary for Magic, who's hung it out in the lead of this race now for quite a long time. You see them just disappearing through the shot there. That's the closest they've been, and we still have laps left. We have 16 laps. 15 are about to go on to 15 to go. That's about 10 minutes. That's over 10 minutes. Anything can happen. Remember that Magic, Redbot, and Lorenzo, they're right together. Oh no, sorry, not Redbot, but Lorenzo and Magic are right together, and they could cause each other a headache. And Redbot's yet to pit, so it very much depends on where Redbot comes out. Judging by the pace of pace of Rony and Mandula, could be slightly behind or around them for sure. Interesting. This isn't over.
They are gaining around 0.2 of a second per lap.
Yeah, I mean, look at the gap to TJ now. It's night and day. TJ, he was so close to getting the slipstream back, and in just a couple of laps, that's how much time Rony's managed to gain.
Well, how would you call it? I mean, he was just being focused on not losing the draft and lifting, and because of that he lost the draft. And they weren't going to catch up to Lorenzo and Magic any faster with that kind of driving. So Ronnie and Mando are probably happy that it went their way, because now they can focus and fully extend. Because even if you have the third car trailing behind, you always kind of don't push your car to the limit of the track in case if that car is somewhere there. You never know when he wants to get into the fight or no, so you always kind of leave a bit of place.
Well, this strategy is working pretty well for these two right now. Up ahead, you can see just about the two cars that these two are chasing. We ride on board with Rony, who's had the fastest lap of the race for a long time in this race. Look how low on the apron he's going, using all of it. And it just matters now about how Mandula and Rony draft compared to their teammates up ahead. 4 race green cars leading this race, with Redbot yet to pit. He's leaving it very late, But 12 laps to go after this one. Oh, goodness me, Rony getting so close. In fact, he's lost it. He's lost his drive coat. I thought he'd gone a bit too low. And that's it. Mandula could wait, but I think TJ's going to be potentially in play here.
Well,
yeah, Mandula's waiting.
Is he? Well, no point in that, because that will not help them catch Magic at all.
TJ's gone, but this, no more mistakes, Rony. Not allowed any more. That's possibly one too many mistakes already. He went very low out of oval turn 4, and that was just enough to unsettle the rear. The front got too much grip, and that was that. It's only a second lost, but
did he hit the curb? I see that he has a bit of damage on the front.
It was so close. I couldn't see it exactly, but he definitely went onto the grass, and there was a bit of a jump, a bit of a skip. Mandula's still waiting, so he feels as though Rony is his chance towards the end. Rony's still taking quite a lot of liberties through the final corner.
Yeah, but they lost over a second.
They have. They've lost a lot of time.
As Magic puts out his fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, Red Bull's got to think about coming in. Unless his pace is good. He has 27 seconds, which by my calculation won't be enough to retain the lead, but he will be somewhere between Magic and Lorenzo and Mandula. I think that's about where he'll come out. Yeah. Sorry, yes, Redbot has to pit.
Yeah. Would be interesting if that time penalty for not having 10 seconds pit would not involve having to pit at all. Because maybe then Red Bull would have enough time in hand.
This is still to play for. Magic and Lorenzo are doing an excellent job here. They have closed the gap even further to Redbot. So these two are in the lead. Lorenzo, he is probably... if he takes his pit stop now, he will come out quite low down. I reckon it's probably in his interest and Race Green's interest for him to help Magic to the finish. Take one for the team, unless he wants to go for a race on his own. But with 10 laps to go, Lorenzo will need to do quite a significant trip through the pit lane.
Yeah, I think his best bet is just to stay out, take the penalty, but that will put him around Unite, or even further. Oh my god, that will put him behind Climbs.
Yeah, it would be a long way down with that penalty.
Yeah, very long way, but pitting will be the same. So, yeah, it's a big mistake.
Stays out. Unless Mandula wins this, I believe we're going to get a new winner for this year. I don't think anybody in the top 5 at the moment, except Mandula, have won. I can't recall whether Mandula's won in RTFR XL this year. We will get a look at that. And see who our new winner will be in just 9 laps' time. 8 and a bit to go.
Let's hope we don't jinx anyone.
Yeah. I mean, there's something's got to go wrong for one of these race green cars not to win, let's be honest. We will see.
Yeah, okay. Lorenzo had his bad luck. Rony also.
Yeah, it's just Redbot's biggest variable is his pit stop now. He's been lapping very nicely, it has to be said, with Cozzy for quite a while. He might owe Cozzy a beer after this if it works out, but I don't think so somehow. I think the best that Redbot can hope for is his 3rd place on the podium as it stands.
If it's around 30 seconds, he has 31 seconds ahead of Mandula now.
And he's coming now.
Lorenzo has a penalty, so he might get 2nd place with 30 seconds with 30 seconds pit stop.
Yeah, he's still enjoying this slipstream, even though they're definitely being caught. There's no doubt about it by Magic and Lorenzo. He's enjoying himself here.
Oh, it's still better than driving alone.
For sure.
It's still faster.
Yeah, it's not to say that Cozzy and Redbot are driving badly together. It's that Lorenzo and Magic are just doing a better job at slipstreaming. They've had more practice together this race. They've been together since the beginning, pretty much. There were 3 of them, of course. There was Yari Katilla as well for a while.
Well, You always have to put into consideration that Redbot has a bit higher ping, so he will always leave a bit more space, and Cozy will also leave a bit more space to Redbot, so they won't utilize full draft, and that will hurt sometime.
Yes, well, here we go. This is the battle for the last step, or the middle step on the podium, of course. Lorenzo will drop down at the end. Not on our results sheets, but on aggregate, he will be well off the podium. In Excel, none of the race green team have won an Excel race, so this would be a good way to finish the season for them. Sidus and Yoni have been at the top. Yeah. But this is a good way to finish. They can keep it to the end. Never say never. But anyway, 26.9 now, the gap between Lorenzo, Magic, and Redbot. So Redbot needs to start thinking about what's best to do. You don't want to pit too late and then lose out on slipstream opportunities towards the end, do you, Jericho? So he might want to think about coming in now, Redbot.
Well, I mean, he's still faster than TJ. Well, TJ is driving alone, and he won't be faster driving alone versus Rony or Mandua, so
yeah, he wants to join. His opportunities to rejoin ahead of Mandula and Rony it's gradually going away. It's now below 31 seconds. So if he rejoins behind, there's no chance to keep that position. Whereas if he joins ahead, at least he's still got the opportunity of a slipstream and a potential side by side across the line. That opportunity
he's got
slips
Soini
away
now also, so that's a free car draft. Yeah. If it works out, he only needs 1 or 2 pulls, and maybe that's enough for him. Let's see how brave he will be on the pit entry.
Yeah, this is the only variable left in this race now. Soini's gone already, so it's just Cozy and Redbot again. If I were Redbot, I would pit now. I think this is his last opportunity to mix it with the front guys. Otherwise, he's destined to rejoin fifth. Yeah, he's staying out. So he's going to the end. He's going to pit probably on lap 53. Leave it just 1 lap to the end. 93.
So he's still getting a nice stall. He's still getting a really nice stall. So yeah, I know what you mean. If he's on a track in front of Mandua and Rony, he can fight for it. But yeah, there's nothing wrong in staying out. He still stays out. Okay.
So yeah, he has to be the next lap then, unless he's forgotten to check lap times.
I can tell to you definitely that he will pit next lap. I'm quite sure. Yeah, meanwhile Rony and Mandua aren't catching to Lorenzo and Magic at all.
So it looks like this race is between Magic and our unknown variable Redbot, but more than likely Magic will take the lead in this.
Redbot hits the wall a bit.
Oh my goodness.
He didn't lose too much, but he did lose some time. That's definitely a 10th. He will get a nice slingshot now, but too bad for him. He has to go into the pits, so that speed won't be worth that much.
Yeah, if he doesn't go into the pits, that hands the lead to Magic, but he is going in the pits. He's going in the pits. This is it. This is for the lead.
Let's see how aggressive he is. Oh, he slows down already.
Oh, he's cruising into the pit lane. Oh, he's going to hit the wall. Oh, he's lost it. Oh my goodness me. And it's game over for Redbot. He had everything to do to get out. Oh my goodness me. So it will be Magic. Oh, goodness me. So Climbs and Easer have crashed as well at the same time. Redbot's finally made it to his pit stop, but that is his race over. Oh goodness me!
Yeah, it's okay.
Someone sideways at the it was Climbs, I think, sideways at the final corner. But here we go, onto the final lap. go Magic and Lorenzo. Magic here driving this red and black livery. On his way to not only the first race screen victory of the year, but their only victory of the year potentially. Still some corners to go. We can't call it yet.
Let's see if Lorenzo will try to finish on track ahead.
Look at this. Redbot, even though he ended up sideways, managed to get out ahead of TJ, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. But anyway, onto the final straight comes Magic to win the final race
Lorenzo is
of the
keeping
year
behind
for RTFR XL. Yeah, he's giving him a push across the line. It was close in the end. But there we are. Magic wins. Lorenzo P2, but he won't finish P2, unfortunately, because of his penalty. Rony, even though he got the fastest lap very early on, he finishes in a very respectable P2. Mandula rounds out an all race green podium.
TJ managed to get Redbot.
Just.
I mean, that hit with the wall, I don't think it cost 7 seconds, so he would be still behind Mandula, I think. But he would be definitely ahead of TJ.
Well, congratulations to Magic. That is a great story, isn't it, to round out the year. A new winner in RTFR XL, and it is a race green driver who brings it home in first place. Kozzy for BMW finishes P7. World Class Lions Timu Soini finishes P9. Sidus, the only Sidus finisher, given their dominant season, finishes in P9. Pekka Koivunen P10. Then we've got Luke P11. Jari Katila finishes P12. Climbs 13th. And Isa 14th. So a lot of last lap drama again, or last 2 lap drama again in RTFR. And I believe that's all our finishes.
I saw that Redbot said he accidentally minimized LFS trying to downshift going into pits. So that's a good save if that's what happened.
That is unfortunate though. I mean, we watched it. He understeered into the wall because the tires were so cold. Yeah, he had lock on, but he just didn't have enough. And maybe he was right to slow down on pit entry. We thought he was taking a very casual pit entry, but he needed to because his tires were so cold. Anyway, there is final classification. 1 hour 17 minutes of MRT racing around the Rockingham Oval, and only 3 seconds the gap to Rony, who will be classified officially in P2. Lorenzo will get a penalty for not serving the full 10-second pit stop. He only served about a second and a bit, so unfortunately a penalty going his way. Mandula will take 3rd place, TJ 4th, Redbot 5th, Kozzy 6th, Soini 7th, Unite 8th, Pekka Koivunen 9th, and Luke will round out the top 10 when everything is settled. There's the rest of the top 19. Lorenzo may slot somewhere in there. Yes, he will. And just the second page of results to go. It's Igor, who was out on lap 1 in that big crash that we saw at the beginning. So, Magic, has he found the podium? Yes, he has. There he is then, parked up on the victory lane. And alongside him is Mandula. Just need Rony, and then they've got an all race green podium over there. So that's just about all we have time for tonight on the stream. We have a few more things to say before we do go, but yes, that is it. We have a new winner in RTFR XL, and it is Magic for Race Green. The hosts have won the final race of the season. Thanks for joining me, Zdravko, for this. I know you had a busy evening, but I appreciate the backup during the broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, you're the Oval expert among us, so it's great to have you here for your insight. Thank you very much for that. Right, time for some important announcements before we wrap up the day. The LFS mods beta test, or rather the alpha test, I guess, the test patch is about to come to a close, so we thought we'd play the mods trailer just one more time. Yeah, a big thank you needs to go out to Michael Malek for that trailer, putting that trailer together to showcase the mods update, which is coming to LFS very, very soon, which is quite exciting. Anyway, what do we have? We also have a new season to announce, and that is coming up tomorrow, and it's an iRacing series. So sit back and enjoy the trailer for this one, put together by Dan Balla. So yes, the SMRC Esports Winter Cup is coming live to you tomorrow from 8 o'clock UTC. Andy Alston and Duncan Vincent will be commentating that, and a crack field of drivers around the newly scanned and newly added iRacing, not kill track in iRacing. We can't wait for that. We'd also like to play the BF1 League trailer, and then just one more announcement before we wrap up for the evening. So yes, we have a whole host of broadcasts coming for you tomorrow. This week, tomorrow, we have Knockhill International, round number 1 of the SMRC Esports Winter Cup, a series by the Scottish Motor Racing Club, powered by Reese Motorsports Insurance, and broadcast by Sim Broadcasts with Andy Alston and Duncan Vincent on commentary. Then on Sunday, round 2 of Master Race Cars BF1 League with the BMW Sauber at South City Long. Then this time again, next Tuesday, it will be the final race of the year for us. It is Rony's Tuesday Fun Race, round 26, the non-championship race with the XRR at Aston Cadet. So if that interests you, then we hope to see you there. That's going to be a bit of a traffic jam, I imagine. So that should be a fun one. So 3 nice races coming up for you on our channel. We hope you can join us for them. I've been Peter Butcher. Zdravko Topolniak joined me during the race to help me out with commentary, which is very much appreciated. Chris McElroy has been in the background feeding me all the information about all the stuff that's happened on the track. Thanks to the drivers. Thank you to Rony for organising the series and Race Green, and for World Class Lines for their sponsorship throughout the year. And thanks to you, the viewers. And of course, I couldn't leave the stream without saying a massive thanks to my co-commentator, Owen Harmon, who commentated on the previous 11 rounds of RTFR XL this year, and pretty much all of RTFR with me. It was a pleasure. This wraps up our RTFR XL calendar for 2021. See you all next time.